let's go ahead and get started. I want to welcome you all to the Clinical Research Connections meeting for June. Real fast at the top of the meeting, I just wanted to say that I'm excited to start my new role as the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Clinical Research Operations next week. I look forward to continuing to work with all of you to support clinical trials here on the Anschutz Medical Campus. We're working kind of behind the scenes to establish the Clinical Research Operations Support Office and are currently in the planning stages of multiple new programs and initiatives. I'm working closely with Dr. Flagg and Allison Lakin to address some of the identified needs on campus, including an IND/IDE support office, workforce development program, and a recruitment center. We're planning to put together a working group to think about how to provide this central support for coordinators to engage research teams so that they can be a part of improving our research processes. I look forward to sharing more details about these initiatives and other ways that our office can support clinical research in the future. With that, I think Allison has some updates also that she would like to share.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Hi, everybody. Just some staffing updates. Like all of you, central administration is experiencing some staffing turnover. So I would just ask that you be gentle with our new contracting team. So we have a new clinical trial contracting team that is in the process of getting trained and working with you. So I'm excited to have them on board. As part of that, we are still working with the Work Copernicus group on some contracting and are looking to potentially do some pilot initiatives on how we can use some of these external resources to change the way we do business. So I'll keep you posted on that piece. Our conflict of interest office is also experiencing some turnover, so you'll be seeing some different faces there. And that is also true of our external IRB program. So no, I say no different to everybody else, but as these are all key functions, there are still enough resources. Nothing should slow down, but sometimes there's going to be a need to escalate your questions because the people closest to the work may not be the ones who have all the answers as they get up to speed. So I say just be a little patient. Just a reminder on we're coming up to fiscal year end. That is usually the time as well when research corps look at pricing. So you may just want to make sure that you've got the new pricing on any groups that you're working with. And along those lines too, with the research pharmacy starting to migrate studies, just a reminder, if you're working with the research pharmacy, that you also need to submit an amendment through the HSR portal because the pricing is going to be different from the hospital pricing. So you'll need to do an amendment too, not just work with them. So I think those are the only updates I have, but I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody's got any questions. Otherwise, seeing nothing, I will pass along to Marissa to give us an update on what's going on at UC Health. Thanks, Marissa.
Thanks, Allison. So for those of you who I haven't met before, my name is Marissa Macri. I'm the Director of Research Administration for UC Health. And so we recently announced a few new offerings that we have for recruitment efforts using our instance of Epic. So I'm going to walk through those. So the intention of these two programs is to leverage our My Health Connection pathways for patient preferences and research opportunities. So those are two different offerings that we're allowing patients to connect with research at UC Health. And this should be enhancing their patient experience within the portal and then connecting research with clinical care. So interested patients can indicate what areas of research they are interested in at UC Health. And then as opportunities become available to them and they meet some of the inclusion/exclusion criteria, those will be presented to them in the portal as well. To oversee these new efforts, we have chartered a committee. It has a long name, but it's called the Recruit Committee. And this committee is tasked with creating the transparent process to support these endeavors system-wide. So they don't approve new functionality, but just approve the use of these existing tools. And so you can find out more about this committee and read through the committee charter on our website on the recruitment page on the source for UC Health. So the first offering that we have in My Health Connection is the research preference profile. So this patient-facing profile allows patients to indicate whether or not they are interested in participating in research studies as healthy volunteers, and if they are interested in specific areas of research. So these areas of research align with the categories that are on UC Health's clinical trial page, where patients can currently search for open studies that are available across the health system. So we hope that this tool will allow investigators who might not have a treatment relationship with these patients to identify patients who are already interested in the study. We have delivered our first recruitment report from patients who have filled out this preference profile and been able to limit the patient list to patients who have met some of the inclusion/exclusion criteria as well. So we'll track that and see what improvements we need to make further to enhance that, the use of that preference profile and the ability of researchers to obtain those patient lists. You can request a list also on our website through a short form to have that patient information. As of this morning, 1,625 patients have filled out this preference profile in My Health Connection, and 980 of those have expressed interest in being a healthy volunteer. We have not marketed this option in My Health Connection. So those patients that have filled it out have done so independently by going into the portal and finding it. So although 1,600 is not quite where we would like to be, it is encouraging to know that people are already able to navigate to that page. Later this month, you might see more information in press and in UC Health Insider Today, talking about the research preference profile and marketing that to patients so we can have even more fill out the preference profile in here. So this little infograph is just how many patients in each category that we have in the profile have indicated interest in that category itself. So aging is so far our most popular among the patient population. The second recruitment tool that we are offering in My Health Connection is the Opportunities Placard. So this is a new element in UC Health's instance of Epic. And this is what it will look like to patients. So you can see right now the biobank placard in the screenshot. You might have seen that if you're a patient at UC Health or heard from your research participants, but the placards for each new study will also live on this same page. We intend to display up to 5 personalized placards per patient. So those placards will display for patients that meet inclusion/exclusion criteria for that study, and then they can indicate whether or not they are interested. It'll give basic information, so PI, study title, coordinators, and then they can find out more from the contact with the recruitment coordinator or on our website by searching for that study on our website as well. So To request a placard created for your study, you can use the same form for the preference profile lists. So it's just one form for either one, and indicate which one you're interested in. The recruit committee meets weekly to review and approve those submissions, and we have quite a few so far. So that's very encouraging to see that this might be a useful tool for research studies across the health system. So I am happy to entertain any questions about either the recruitment preference profile or research opportunities placards.
Hey, Marissa, I have a question. I filled out, I went through your form, I think it was last week, and one of the questions was, do you have IRB approval to use this? And because this is new, we wouldn't have IRB approval yet. So does that prevent it from moving forward to the committee then for review if we don't have IRB approval to use these different recruitment methods?
Yeah, that's a great question. It does not prevent you from moving forward for the committee to review. We track that information kind of on our back end review to make sure that we're not activating the placards or sending you lists prior to having IRB approval. So the committee will review without IRB approval, but we won't release or build anything in the system without it.
Do you guys have boilerplate language that we can include into consent into the COMERB application for this?
We don't right now, but I will make a note to follow up with you.
Great, thanks. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Marissa, it looks like there's a couple questions in chat. The first one from Kelsey is, do you get an approval email if the placard is approved?
Yes, you do get an approval email when the placard is approved, and then you will also get an approval or a second email when it's live. So we'll communicate with you throughout the steps of that process.
And then another question from Nicole. Also, what does IRB approval mean for multi-site studies that use a commercial IRB?
In that case, it would be whatever your IRB of record is for that multi-site study.
But I guess my question is, what exactly do they need to approve?
When you're submitting to a commercial IRB, the recruitment plan is reviewed by the external IRB committee locally, so it would need to be within that as well.
And currently that's all the questions in chat. If you have any more questions for Marissa, you can unmute and ask or put them in chat. We are going to share these slides and a recording. By the end of the week, usually it takes a little bit of time to render the video and send it out. So expect that probably the end of this week or early next week. And without further ado, if there's no further questions, I'm gonna pass it over to.
I actually have a question. Sorry. Are you able
Yeah,
to?
go for it.
Perfect. So whenever we submit to have our studies advertised on the placard, and if it gets approved, how long do you estimate that it will show for the patient? Is it up there for like 5 days, indefinitely?
Yeah, that's a good question. It will show indefinitely until they respond to it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Em. Thanks, Marissa. And if there are no further questions, we'll pass it over to Janine Higgins, who is going to be talking about some new things with the new CTRC and the new building.
Clinical and Translational Research Center move very quickly, and hoping to answer any questions that you might happen to have. Okay, my slide's not advancing. There we go. So we moved in April from the Leprino office building to the new Anschutz Health Sciences building, the big black one on campus. The CTRC inpatient remains on the 12th floor at University Hospital, And then all of our outpatient administrative services are the ones that conducted this move to the new building. This is the new building, and we're very fortunate. This is the parking lot for the new building. It's called Vale Parking Lot, and there's a kiosk here to pay for parking. The entrance is actually on Revere Court, which is just around the corner here. So this parking situation couldn't be more convenient for our participants, which is one of the things we were concerned about. There's 108 reserved spaces in the Vale lot. If you're going to have a visit for more than 4 hours, it's really important that patients go to the Monte Vista lot out the front of the Anschutz Health and Wellness Centre. And we're also fortunate that thanks to the Chancellor and Terry Carruthers, the university is covering the parking fees for our participants, whether it be an investigator-initiated study or an industry-funded study. And that's done by a code for those kiosks. And the CTRC scheduler team will email, if you're assigned privileges to schedule patients at the CTRC scheduler team will email you the new code for the parking monthly. And the university is keeping track of that so that we can see how long we can continue this arrangement for. The kiosks can be difficult. Please ask your participants to be persistent and try again if it doesn't work the first time. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times to get the kiosk to accept the code, even if the code's correct. Sometimes people mispunch one of the numbers, but even if it's correct, it can take 2 or 3 tries to get the kiosk to accept the code. So please ask your participants to be persistent if they're trying to enter one of those codes. In terms of your billing, that has changed a little bit because any services still at University Hospital, you'll receive a bill from University Hospital, and any services, nursing services at the CTRC outpatient, you'll now get a bill from CU Medicine. So you may get separate bills now. You must still link your research visits in Encore as you've always done. That prevents your patients from getting a nasty bill. So remember that you could get separate invoices for, even if you're only doing outpatient CTRC, if you send any labs over to UC Health for the clinical lab services, the clinical lab services bill will come from UCH and the CTRC bill will come from CU Medicine. So just be aware that you'll be getting more than one bill depending on the kinds of services that you use now. We have beautiful new space, and this is the PRA and coordinator landing space. It's really nice space. There's a lot of computers set up for your use and a printer at the end of this row, so you can easily access anything you need to print for a patient visit. We have a lovely new electronic status board in this area and in the nursing station. To access the status board directly, you can go to your phone or go to this page on the CTRC website, and there's a link. So you can see this on your phone or any of these computers or your own laptop. And if you're looking for instructions on how to use this resource, the instructions are the second link shown here. And a close-up of the board will show you study number, the visit type, what room you should be in or take your patient to, the estimated or the scheduled appointment time, and then the patient initials for those people that have more than one visit at the same time, so that you know who to take to which room. And this changes in real time. So if the front desk of CTRC or a coordinator checks in a patient, the patient shows as checked in. The coordinator can request a nurse by changing the status here as ready for a nurse. And patients need to be checked out by the front desk staff still. But this is really helping with communication now that the PRA and coordinator landing space and the nursing station have been separated. It saves people running backwards and forwards on the hallway. So we really do urge people to use this system. Nursing has had a few issues, the same as everybody else. We have had a critical shortage of some items. We have really tried hard to source these items from multiple sources, and we keep trying to order from different places. Currently, we're short of lidocaine, hubs, transfer devices, 19-gauge needles, and D20. If you use any of these supplies, we ask you to call nursing if your visit is within the next 7 days and uses these supplies. And additionally, until we get our supplies back in stock, we can't accept any add-on visits within 7 days unless the study team can bring these items to the visit themselves, because we're counting down. We know how many visits we have, and if we add visits, we're going to run out for a visit later in the week or next week. So please be cognizant of that. And as of tomorrow, we've added onto the adult CTRC webpage a link to what we're short of, and we'll update that as we know. And we can't tell you when these things are coming in. Unfortunately, a lot of the time, we don't know things aren't coming in until the day the box of supplies arrives and it's missing 1 or 2 items. We're never told they're not coming. We're never told they're on back order. It takes a lot of communication with the companies to figure out if it's really coming in a separate box. Some people have told us we won't be getting things till 2023 that we've ordered, but it took us 3 weeks to find that out. So please be aware that there may not be supplies on the day you come for your visit, even though we were expecting to have those supplies. This is happening more and more frequently across all of our cores, the same as it's happening to you at home. In terms of staffing, we are very fortunate to have a new nurse practitioner starting on July 18, and all CTRC users will be receiving this information via email this week. And this person is trained in all procedures that we do at the CTRC except lumbar puncture, and she will be able to do these as soon as she's trained on this technique. I do want you to be aware that there might be some tight scheduling in the fall, because we have a night nurse going on FMLA in the fall. So inpatient will be closed some weekends, times and nights, and our staffing, excuse me, on outpatient at Anschutz Health Sciences building will be reduced on some days to accommodate inpatient and outpatient needs. The nutrition core is no longer located in the Anschutz Health Sciences building with the rest of the CTRC. Nutrition core is down at the Anschutz Health and Wellness Center down in the northwest corner of campus, which means it's almost impossible for us to stop what we're doing and add a diet that someone forgot to schedule, or the patient showed up on the same day, the wrong day, because we're a walk away. It would severely delay your study visit. So just keep in mind that we're not adjacent anymore. Any diet pickups that you have will be in the Anschutz Health Sciences building at the outpatient CTRC front desk. They're no longer from the kitchen. And we're also having chronic supply chain issues with nutrition, and we're having diets that are taking much longer to plan and produce because we keep trying to find replacement items for things that do not come in. So just be aware that it is harder for us to stop what we're doing and add diets on as well. The lab, the CTRC core lab, has a critical staffing shortage in July and August. We've had 3 people resign in the last 2 months. And as you all know, it takes a long time to get replacements right now. And then we have to train those folks. So we'll be sample processing as normal, as you're all used to, but please be aware that the assay schedule, at least till the fall, will be reduced or halted. So if you're waiting for data for a poster in August or September even, please contact the lab manager and give them a heads up, because we may or may not be able to get those data to you. So be as proactive as possible with the lab if you definitely need assays run before the end of the study. And with that, I'll give you one of my favorite photos. This is our new placard. It's the Clinical Transitional Research Center rather than Translational Research Center. So that's going to be up there for a long time, I suspect. But if anyone has questions, I will try and answer them for you.
Thank you, Janine. If you have any questions, please put it in chat, or you can simply unmute if it doesn't get too unruly. We'll give you a minute or so for questions. And then I think people probably know how to reach out to you, Janine.
Yep.
So she's always available by email, so thank you. Looks like we have a little bit of an abridged version of the meeting today. So thank you both for our presentations. We plan on meeting again, I believe it's July 19th. Lori Hopper is going to be talking about HIPAA training, and Richard Akoto, I believe, is going to be talking about conflict of interest. So look forward to that. If you are not registered, we can send you the link, and we plan on scheduling out for the rest of the year. So you can see us every Tuesday, every third Tuesday at noon. If you have any questions for us directly, or ideas for topics and presentations, the email address is clinicalresearchconnections@cuanschutz.edu. But with that, if nobody has any questions, we'll end there. And yeah, expect slides and a video of this presentation to be sent out probably by the end of the week, if not early next week. Thank you all for joining.